Hello everyone and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as Deep Blue Renegade, and I would like to welcome you guys to episode 47. Today is Tuesday, June 17th, 2014, and we're hanging out on my porch this morning. It is muggy. It might even be too hot for coffee. Which is quite the shame. I don't know, it's reached emergency status. I've run out of creamer, so this is the only cup of coffee I'm getting. Well, it's my second cup of coffee today, so it's not the end of the world. And I don't believe this episode is going to be a very long one, so I don't have a lot to show you guys this week. It won't be the end of the world, though. I suppose I could dive into the knitting. I only worked on one thing last week. It is the Nubum shawl, or my Walk on the Nubum. It is a mashup of Walk on the Moon and Nubum. And it is, so I did weigh it before starting, weighed my yarn before starting the episode. So I started out with 307 grams. And I now have 184 left, which means that I'm precisely at the 40% point at this time, which is pretty cool. And I'm just sort of spreading it out a little bit to show you guys what's going on. So I'm on row 93, which is towards the top of chart 2. I'm almost done using the Magnolia dark color. Trying to see if that, I can't see anything. So far is turning out quite fetching. So I'm at the 40%. I ended up, this was the only thing that I took with me on the climbing trip. And it turned out that there was less climbing than, or there was less knitting on the climbing trip because it ended up being me, my husband, and a friend. So there wasn't a lot of downtime because either I was belaying or I was climbing. I suppose that there was the option to sit around for a little bit, but for the most part we were pretty busy. And then most of the knitting that got done on this was actually on the car rides, going to Kentucky and then going back. So I know for sure that I'm probably going to have to, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to make some modifications in order to, or what is it? I need to make some modifications because I don't have that much of the gray left. So I have about 30 grams of the gray left. I started out with 69. So I'm going to have to do a modified version of the pattern, I believe, in order to sort of transition into the green, which I have quite a bit of. And so I'm not sure at this point what I'm going to do exactly. There is the option of maybe just doing a couple of the pertinent motifs in the chart and then going from there. I could put out and search it for more of the Grafrot's color. I'm not sure. I think for the moment I'll just go ahead and do, what is it? I think for the moment I'll go ahead and I'll sort of foreshorten the pattern a little bit and maybe do some of the things from, what is it? I'm definitely not going to have enough yarn to do chart 3 the way it was supposed to be. So I can either cut out some stuff or I can do parts of chart 1 and 2 but then have less space in between the rows. We'll see how it goes. I think as long as it's consistent, it won't be too bad. And there's definitely a difference between the first the first and second charts, which sort of make for the maroon and gray in this pattern. So I need to sit down and think. I hadn't brought my scale with me when I went on the trip, so I wasn't really sure what my yarn usage was anyways. And I brought the green with me, and there was just far less knitting time than I had expected. So I am I have this section here, which is like 5 repeats, for lack of a better word, in here. Or sort of goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 5. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do in order to make it work, but something will be done in order to make it work, because then I'm going to incorporate the Magnolia Dark into the ruffle, and I think that the amount of yarn I have will be fine for that. I hope so, because I feel sort of silly. The walk on the moon ruffle is significantly shorter than the new room ruffle, so I think that's what I'm going to end up going with. I don't know whether or not I'll do the 2x2 ruffle or whether I'll do the 1x1 ruffle. But let's see. So I'm 40% done with this project. How many yards is that for Stash Dash? Let's see. We'll do some light calculations. 1740 times 0.4 equals... So I'm currently at 696 yards so far on this. So this is a beast. It's a beast. So I don't know, like I had it done. I had the extension needle in this. Right now I just have it on my longest single circ, because it was a little bit annoying having it be so large with my 2 longest circs attached to my Shagu interchangeables. I might end up switching it back again, just because obviously this is just like, look, it's Blob. My new room shaped Blob. So there is quite a bit more that needs to be done, but it's already a pretty big shawl at this point. I think the main reason why I have been working on it exclusively is that it's very mindless, and I appreciate mindless right now. It'll be something like at the end of the day, I'd be like, okay, fine. I can work on this, it'll be fine. So I have made no progress on the reknitting of the Alfaba sweater. I haven't even put Marit's back on the needles yet. And I think based on how much knitting I have, I don't need to be worried about running out in the next month. That won't be a problem at all. So I've been fairly busy this week, trying to get all of the details set, finishing up projects around the house, packing up the stuff in the house that we don't need to have on display and don't really need. And I really hate packing with the fiery burning passion of a million suns. So it's been pretty hard to stay motivated. So I think what has worked fairly well for me is that I have a couple of things going on at once that I need to sort of whittle away at, and then I'll just bounce around between them. So this will be the case where I'll be packing up stuff in the stash room, I'll be packing stuff up in the hallway, which has a lot of my books and stuff that belong in an office, and then I've been packing up stuff in my husband's office area. And if I bounce between these three things, oh, and I've been working on reglazing a window. So if I bounce between these three things, or three or four things, it's not too bad, but just tackling one of them all the way until it's done is not much fun. And now I'm at the end of the row. So it's coming together, but maybe not moving as quickly as you would think it would be. I ended up going to bed really late last night, so I think that's made me drag a little bit today. So that's my knitting. Walk on the Novum is coming together. I'm not sure whether or not I'll work on the other projects this week or if I'll just continue wailing away. The next thing is spinning, and I'm not even sure if I've spun anything on this week, but I figured I may as well show you because it's beautiful. This is, what is it? This is the Primavera. It is a superwash merino from Nest Fiber Company, and it is quite gorgeous. So I basically still just have one color repeat left before I'm done spinning this. It's just been a little bit crazy. I haven't decided to set aside the time to sit on my front porch for a little while and spin. So there isn't too much left of the first half. I haven't packed away the second half yet. I probably will keep that loose. Excuse me. So it is a dream to spin. It is turning out really pretty. So no complaints over here. And then in other spinning related news, on Thursday I got together with my friends Anna and Jody, and they kept company with me while I washed this fleece. So it took about 2 hours, and I managed to get about a pound done. Or now that it's clean, I weigh it clean and dry, I weighed it, and I have about a pound of fiber in this grocery bag. So this is what it's looking like. Lots of fleecy goodness. So I'm thinking the best course of action is, what is it? I would say it's not necessarily perfect in terms of cleanliness. I know that the tips are a little bit rough for whatever reason. I'm not sure why that is, unless it's just an indicator that I didn't quite do as good a job as I needed to. Hard to tell. So, I'm just sort of playing around with this. Unfortunately, some of the tips are breaking off, so I'm not quite sure what that means or what to think about that. But it is every bit as ridiculously colored as it was in the thing. I'm wondering if I need to change the way that I clean fleeces, because it really beats stuff up in terms of lock structure. So I really don't have as nice of an aligned of fiber as I did when I started, so I'm not sure what to think about that. But for the most part, the locks mostly stayed together, but it's not perfect here. So I'm thinking that this portion here, and I'll probably do another round of fleece cleaning, and then I'll end up, selling that to Jody. But I figured that she needed to be somewhat involved in the cleaning of it. before I handed it off. So that is right there. I haven't done any other prep stuff with it. I basically just gathered it up off the floor of my upstairs where it had been drying, and then chunked it in the bag. So I think if I do clean another 8 ounces today, then well, I've been in debate because I'm not sure if I have the time in order to clean the rest of it. So, but then it's all soaking in the water right now, and it's on my back porch, and the oak tree is dropping crap into it, which was sort of defeats the purpose of having a covered fleece. So I'm not sure what my game plan is going to be because I don't really want to devote a lot of time to it, but on the other hand, I need to do something about it. And I didn't end up taking any pictures of the process, but let's just say the initial soak was very, very brown, and then after I'd finished cleaning fleece that night, I drained out the initial soak and I put in new water from the hose, and that has been pretty clear, so I think I got most of the dirt out of it. It's not like it's a really greasy fleece at all. It is the Corriedale crossed with the BFL Shetland cross. So, and we were talking about it while we were cleaning, and it was sort of like we had all of the advantages and none of the disadvantages of those different breeds. So it is absolutely freaking gorgeous. But I didn't really want to move a dirty fleece, but I might end up needing to move a dirty fleece just because I don't have time to take care of it, because it was a solid 2 hours to do that amount of wool. The other thing that I ended up doing was I ended up getting dishwashing tubs. I got like the 17-quart dishwashing tubs because I knew that since I was going to be pouring boiling water into them, I wanted them to be able to hold up. So, and it's not necessarily boiling water, it's just nearly boiling water. Or by the time I got it over there, it was probably just nearly boiling water. So as a result, I don't know, I would like to get more of them because they were a really good size. When I cleaned fleece last, I was using my roasting pan, and I was using my 9x13 pan in order to get things, and this time I had the 3 17-quart containers, and those about a pot of water was about right for how much stuff was in there. And basically I had all 5 burners on my stove with pots flaming away. So I think it was the case where it was about 10 minutes per thing. I think it maybe could have been longer, I'm not sure. But it was a really fairly fast process because it got through a pound of fleece in 2 hours, so that's not too bad. And it was basically in 2 batches, so I probably had 4 ounces in each container. So, I don't know. We shall see. But I really don't think I have time in order to do the rest of it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll wash another 8 ounces, probably today or something like that. And then I will drain the water out and then let it dry upstairs. Just because for the moment I guess I just don't know what to do with it. And I don't really have the time to do the rest. So this will be the stuff that's clean for Joyity, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And that, I believe, is everything for this week. So well, it's just a case like I haven't finished anything, I haven't started anything new. I've been a bit preoccupied with getting all this stuff for the move taken care of. So it's looking like the plan for now is, in terms of the move, I am going to be going down to the Dallas Metroplex in less than 2 weeks at this point. I'm going to be driving down with all of the stuff I need in order to, or basically the same stuff that I had brought with me to Albuquerque. And I am going to be living in corporate housing, which is actually fully furnished, for a month. So I had just signed the lease yesterday for that. And then I am now in the process of figuring out what sort of apartment I would like to live in after the time with corporate housing is over. We decided to not put an offer on any houses yet, because my husband still needs to figure out where he's working. And if it turns out that when there is no traffic, it is 40 minutes away, during rush hour in the Metroplex, that ends up translating to an hour-and-a-half commute. And my husband, when we had first ended up moving to the Lafayette area, ended up having an hour-and-a-half commute. And that was a lot of time in his life that he would like to have back. So he needs to get a job offer before we can figure out what area is the best compromise between us. So we'll see where it goes from there. This means that like our whole timeline is somewhat shifted a bit. So he is going to be living here and fixing up the house and decluttering and all that other stuff, while I'm down in Dallas, and then I'll be flying back every so often to help him with projects around the house and stuff like that. So it's based on whatever, how much money we'll both be making. It's not going to be a big deal to do that. So we're going to be doing the separate thing for a while again, which is no fun. But I think it'll work out just fine. If only because, I don't know, we know we can handle it. But knowing him and knowing me, I am the one who's in charge of getting rid of most of the clutter before we do decide to put our house on the market. So, and it's just the case where I'm sure you guys also feel this way too, but you don't notice your own clutter. But you definitely notice your significant other's clutter. So it helps quite a bit for me to point out and be like, yeah, no, we can't have that. So we shall see. I should be getting a report back at some point from the different realtors, whatever, who were trying to convince us that they would be better at selling our house. And so it was interesting to listen to them and try to figure out, what is it? To listen to them and figure out what it is that we should be prioritizing. And both of them both of the teams that we ended up talking to, one was a husband and wife and one was a woman, we're both very, very clear that we were not show ready yet. So that's been what's been keeping me busy for the past week for the most part. And it's not like you can pack boxes and knit at the same time. You can take a brief knitting break between packing boxes, but so some really big changes are coming, but I'm sure we're gonna roll with the punches and everything's gonna work out just fine. And I should be able to record again next week. Let's see, next week would end up being the 24th of June. I think that's far enough away from my departure date that it shouldn't be a big deal. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to be leaving. I think I'm probably going to be leaving that Friday of that week. So math is escaping me, but that's okay. I would say I'm probably going to be leaving the 27th of June, and then have a big long day of driving on Friday, and then maybe a little bit of driving on the last day. And then I'll move into my temporary apartment and sort of get situated in the city and see how everything goes. So I don't think it'll be too bad. And we'll see how much stuff I can end up bringing with me. In my cute little car. Because it makes it slightly more complicated because I have to bring all the things that I would need in order to live on my own, because I don't really want to buy duplicate stuff if I don't need to. So I probably need to start freezing some Nalgene bottles because the moving company will not move condiments. And I didn't end up bringing condiments with me when I ended up going to Albuquerque, which means that when I brought my condiments back with me from Albuquerque, we have like double condiments in the fridge, and I have an unholy love of condiments. I really like them a lot. So I don't want to have triple condiments, and it's not like the Dear Sweet Lovable one is actually going to use the condiments. So I'm probably going to be bringing most of them with me, or yeah. So, full of silliness. But I hope you all have a lovely week, and I hope you don't mind a chattier episode than usual. It's still short and sweet, so that's not a big deal. Excuse me. And have a great day. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.